Do you ever feel like you're at crossroads, whether in your career or in life? It's pretty common, really. So I really wanted to talk about how we navigate that, particularly as we get to retirement age. So I wanted to start by having a look at Arthur Brooks's book, From Strength to Strength, and also a video, because I've just been watching Joe Kuhn's YouTube review of the book, which I really enjoyed. Joe's got a really unique perspective on the book because he actually lived it. He went from a pretty high-performing engineering type background to becoming a YouTuber. Quite a step, really. So he doesn't just talk about it, he actually has made a shift himself, which gives him some proper insight into this. And he ties the whole thing back to the book that talks about fluid intelligence versus crystallized intelligence. Sounds a bit strange, but actually when you break it down, it does make a lot of sense. So let's start by having a look at what is fluid intelligence. So to start with, they peak at different times in our lives. And fluid intelligence is that quick, sharp, adaptive thinking that we do when we're a bit younger. It's the kind that helps you solve problems on the fly and innovate. It's what a lot of us use to climb the ladder from a work perspective. And Joe talked a lot about in his engineering career. That's exactly what drove him. A lot of people expect that from high-performing people in high-performing careers. Many of us love that idea of the young entrepreneur pulling all-nighters and coming up with innovative ideas for their new business. But this kind of energy and this kind of thinking naturally tends to decline between the age of 35 and 50. So our brains at this point start to really, I wouldn't say slow down, they shift gears into a different way of thinking. So your fluid intelligence might start to decrease. Crystallized intelligence not to really ramp up at this point. So what's crystallized intelligence? Well, think wisdom and experience. It's less about achieving things on your own and more about joining the dots with other people. Using your experience to guide others. Could be mentoring or teaching or just sharing your insights with other people. Crystallized intelligence peaks much later in life, like well into our 70s actually. So rather than seeing aging as a decline, we can see it as a whole new ability, a new way to tap into this new strength that comes to us between the age of 35 and 70 and peaks in our 70s. So in this video, Joe talks about jumping curves, which I think is really important. So if you try to hold onto your fluid intelligence past its prime, it really can backfire on you. It can leave you feeling stuck in past glory and deflated. It's like trying to squeeze on that old suit that doesn't fit anymore. Think of that footballer who's dropped a few divisions and is no longer getting the same glory he was when he was in the Premiership. Eventually, something has to give, and it can be really difficult to let go, particularly because society often kind of prizes and values you based on them skills. There's a really interesting example in the book, and it's Charles Darwin. Yeah, coming back at it. So Charles Darwin, during his younger days, was really productive, very high profile, prolific writer, but really struggled as he got into his 50s to have the same kind of impact. Now, Joe decided to retire at 54. This was like the peak of his engineering career. People thought he was mad at the time. But he realised he wasn't getting that same kind of buzz out of work anymore. But he was beginning to start creating something different, something more aligned to crystallized intelligence. Joe's a great example of how embracing crystallized intelligence can open up a whole new chapter for you in life. But that's got to come with self-awareness, knowing in ourselves when we need to jump between the curves. And that's a difficult thing to do. And the book, it references something quite interesting, a reverse bucket list. So instead of putting together a list of all the things that we want to achieve in life, we take a critical look at that list and start to tick things off. Things that don't really align with our new way of thinking, our new crystallized intelligence lifestyle. Does the item on the list bring me lasting joy? Does it align with my own ethos? I like to think of it as decluttering your goals, really. If there's anything on the list that's about ego or self-validation, it's gone. Things on that list need to resonate with meaning, with purpose. So we're talking about moving from accomplishments to relationships and community and family, and definitely starting them creative activities we became too busy for when we were just chasing accomplishments. I mean, I need to think about these things myself. I've got a huge bucket list of places in the world I want to go and see and visit. And I do need to think, are some of these accomplishments, or are they really about finding deeper meaning and making better connections in life? And that's the power, I think, of a reverse bucket list. It does make you assess what's important and where you're headed. What fulfills us definitely changes as we get older. It changes over time. Redefining success on your own terms can be pretty scary. It's a big change. It's not about slowing down or giving up. It's about evolving and growing and finding deeper meaning in your activities. So have a think about where you are on the intelligence curve. Are you at that point where you need to make the jump? Have you made the jump already? Have you got any insights you can share in the comments so other people can learn from them? Or maybe are you stuck on the fluid intelligence wave, chasing goals and accomplishments that no longer kind of ring with the same value they used to when you were younger? Joe in his video described some of the difficulties he had when he went through this process and the expectations on others. It's as if we're meant to continue to climb that ladder, to stay on that hamster wheel. Eventually, you're going to jump the curve, whether you're ready or not. So it's best to be ready for it, plan for it, and decide if it's the right time for you. If we jump too late, we can end up becoming disillusioned with what we're doing and potentially burned out trying to keep up. Aging becomes a transformation, not a decline. So what can we do? What's the practical steps other than reading the book, of course? Well, Joe talked about mentorship, and he said that during his career, that was always the most fulfilling thing that he did. I mean, for you, have you had the opportunity to mentor people during your career? Did you enjoy it? Was it something you enjoyed doing? I did. I always enjoyed sharing my knowledge and experience with the younger generation. We've all got something to offer. It's important that we also focus on relationships. The real important things, the real things that make life worth living are the people in our lives. They are for everyone. It goes back to your reverse bucket list again. Are the things on there, about climbing a mountain or visiting a waterfall, when actually you could replace them with spending more time with elder children or grandchildren, things that really help you build connections and will have much more lasting memories. Well, another factor to think about is legacy. There's a sweet spot between meeting your ambitions going forward, but also looking for deeper meaning and deeper connections. It's about realizing that our greatest achievements are probably still ahead of us. Second half of our lives can be even more meaningful and ambitious and exciting than the first half. And this won't be a lonely journey in this second half, because it's about working with others. It's about taking other people with you. Sometimes the most exciting destinations are those we discover when we're focused on something else, something bigger than ourselves. In this video, Joe asked if we could write our own eulogies. What would people say about us? What would you want them to say about you? I think it's a great exercise to write your own eulogy and see for yourself what's really important for you at this stage in your life. And also, by the time we do pass on, what would we like to achieve? What does the second half of our life look like in terms of catching up with what we've done so far and what we'd like that eulogy to say? Do you want to be remembered for the accomplishments you made? Or would you prefer to be remembered for what you passed on, for the connections you made? So I'll leave you with two tasks. First, rewrite your bucket list. Secondly, check in on your eulogy. Write yourself a eulogy. Let me know if it helps in the comments. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to buy the book and also to check in Cheers. Ciao. It's a cracker. Cheers.